Hi folks, this is Monte Taylor with episode 15 of Masterful Prospecting. Now recently I stumbled across a very intriguing article entitled 6 Hostage Negotiation Techniques that will help you get what you want. And I thought to myself, very interesting, because I'm always looking for better ways to get what I want. The article focused on top FBI negotiators and how they get people to change their minds. The FBI's Behavioral Change Stairway Model was developed over many years of experience, and it shows the 5 steps of getting someone else to see your point of view and perhaps change their mind. By the way, this model is not just something that works with barricaded criminals wielding assault rifles. It applies to almost any form of human influence. In a moment, I'll share the 5 steps with you, but here's what really captured my attention. In teaching this model, the FBI found that most students skipped the first 3 steps, and they started at step 4, which is the influence step, and they still expected the person to go immediately to step 5, which is change the other person's behavior. The FBI's overall message, step 1, 2, and 3, are the most important steps, with step 1 being the most important step of all. So here are the 5 steps. By the way, you can absolutely learn and use these. Step 1, active listening. Listen to the other person's side and make sure they are aware that you're listening. Step 2, empathy. Get a total understanding of where they're coming from and how they feel. Step 3, rapport. By the way, empathy is what you feel. Rapport is when they feel it back, and you both notice, and then you start to trust each other. What's the best way to gain empathy and rapport? That would be active listening. Interesting. Now step 4 is influence. Now that they trust you, you've earned the right to work on their problem by problem solving with them and even recommending a course of action. Step 5, perhaps behavioral change. That's the part where you've now earned the opportunity to change the other person's mind if possible. And changing their mind, by the way, sometimes takes time. It's a process. In the article, there was an interview with one of the top FBI negotiators of all time, and he was asked, "So what do most people do wrong?" And here's what he said. Most negotiators, most communicators, most people who hope to influence others jump prematurely to the influence step, which is absolutely wrong. The most important step is active listening. Now, the basics of active listening are pretty straightforward, but not necessarily easy. First, listen to what the other person is saying and don't interrupt. Don't disagree, don't evaluate, and don't sit there thinking about what your response is going to be. Just be quiet. While you're listening, you can offer some brief acknowledgments such as, "Yes," or "I think I see what you mean," or "Interesting, tell me more." Repeat back the gist of what they've just said from their frame of reference and ask questions that demonstrate you've been paying attention. For example, "So what you're saying is, you don't feel you'd have the time right now to work on a side business project, right?" Or, "So what you're saying is, you'd need to speak with your spouse first to make sure your spouse is on board, right?" Here's the important takeaway for all of us who are communicators and prospectors and salespeople. Number 1 in any communications, when you hope to influence others, and the most important step, is active listening, which leads to empathy, which leads to rapport. Active listening, empathy, and rapport are always where to begin. These are the building blocks for having the opportunity to influence someone else. Once again, this is Monte Taylor, and let's keep finding ways to make prospecting easy.